Man, there was something really special about 90s and early thousands anime that speaks to the soul. And if you were lucky enough to come home from school and hear the sweet vocal nectar of this man,
Legend speaks of the galactic ley line,
ushering you into the best television programming to ever exist, then you've got at least one good childhood memory. We had real hand-drawn animation, hype music with actual instruments, serious and often darker story themes, amazing action and iconic fight scenes, sometimes awkward lines and dubbing, and these became the godfathers of all modern anime. We were raised by Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Samurai Champloo, and among others, Outlaw Star. The latter doesn't get nearly as much recognition as the rest, partially because people immediately saw it as just a Cowboy Bebop clone, even though it came out first, and dismissed it. There's actually very little in common between the two shows, and they're both amazing in their own rights. Outlaw Star was unique and very well done. So much so, in fact, that Hollywood straight up ripped off the story and characters of Outlaw Star and made a show called Firefly. And Joss Whedon never did have the decency to admit the obvious inspiration. The show follows Gene Starwin and Jim Hawkins as kind of a odd jobs buddy cop duo. Gene is the muscle who's quick with the gun and even quicker with the sexual harassment. If this dude existed today, he'd get canceled faster than my dad canceled existing. He's also got some PTSD and struggles to find the balance between being an outlaw and his moral compass. Jim is the guy in the chair, tech genius, who's almost a little brother to Gene. He's the responsible one, because, someone has to be. Along the way, in typical action anime fashion, they collect a ragtag crew of misfits, including a super advanced android chick, a magic samurai chick, and an immortal but kinda dumb werecat chick. The dudes and chicks are forced into a constant struggle to remain alive, while trying to figure out the mysteries of all that surrounds them. It takes place in the not-so-distant future, where spacefaring ships, remote colonies, androids, aliens, and cybernetics are commonplace. There are 3 warring factions that have power in this universe: the Space Forces, Pirates, and Outlaws. The Outlaws do outlaw things, like smuggling, bounty hunting, hit jobs, etc. The Space Forces are like space cops that try to keep the peace and be corrupt at the same time. The Pirates are not at all what you'd expect. Imagine Jack Sparrow if he... Imagine Peter Pan if... No, that's not right. Imagine if Jafar and Gollum had a baby that instead of chasing a ring, endlessly chased some mythical magic library. Yep, nailed it. Gene and Jim stumble into something way bigger than themselves when they end up on board a stolen, state-of-the-art prototype ship called...
XGP-15A2.
Well, it ends up being called Outlaw Star. Get it? It's the name of the show. It even comes with DLC, like a personal drowning tank, and an awesome little butler ship AI named Gilliam, who's like this snarky old man that just lives on board and passive-aggressively tells you what you did wrong.
With this captain's piloting technique, I worry about my future prospects.
There's tons of action, suspense, mystery, awkward 90s dialogue,
Clear the way! Make way for the control!
and really immersive world building. There's also some deeper moments in the show that explore the meaning of life and whether AI can be truly sentient or have a soul. It's an even more interesting concept when we see how far AI has come in the real world. It feels like only another 20 or 30 years from now before we have the beginnings of androids so advanced we won't be able to tell the difference at a glance between them and humans, which I'm sure the Discord and Reddit mods will be thrilled about. One of the characters grapples with knowing they've been made in a lab somewhere without knowing their purpose. They also aren't sure where they belong in society and if their feelings are authentic or just programming. Can they feel love? Are they capable of loving someone? It's awkward enough having the birds and the bees talk. Imagine having the "am I a real person with a soul, even though I was synthesized by you and mommy and born in a lab, because dad didn't want a gay son and mommy didn't want a ginger, so they compromised and got an android." Speaking of awkward, if you originally watched the show on Toonami or Adult Swim back in the day, you wouldn't know anything about episode 23. That's fine too, because it's honestly a complete filler episode, and the only one. The crew goes to a resort planet that's like one giant hot spring spa. Minor spoiler in 3, 2, 1. But you find out the origin of the castor shells Gene uses in his special gun and how they're made. Okay, you guys can come back now. The spoiler is done and gone. But other than that little piece of actual plot development, the entire episode is fan service. And I mean like gratuitous fan service. So feel free to skip it and just read the episode synopsis online. You're not missing much beyond degenerate behavior. That awkward episode aside, the show is honestly great. The action is intense and exciting. It does a great job of blending traditional fighting, tech, and powers in a way that doesn't leave you rolling your eyes. The ship isn't just a normal spaceship. It's got giant mech arms that it uses to punch, stab, or shoot anyone who gets in its way. Yeah, America! The characters are unique and fleshed out, each playing a role and getting their time to shine. The plot is surprisingly involved and well written, even with the random cringe 90s dialogue.
Oh, you can't perform? Oh, sorry you can't perform. That's too bad.
The music helps elevate each scene, and the huge difference in the tone between the intro and outro songs makes a lot more sense once you finish the show. Is it a perfect show? Good lord no, not even close. It's got plenty of flaws, but often those flaws, like the dated character design and animation, voice acting and dialogue choice at times, are functioning components of a very special device. A device that allows one to travel back to a simpler time, where people wrote cool and fun shows just for the sake of being cool and fun. When times were simple, the world wasn't on fire, the worst stress you had was some schoolyard drama, there was always milk in the fridge and your dad's car in the driveway. It's that brief escape that makes nostalgia so powerful and appealing. This show doesn't need to be perfect, and it doesn't try to be. It's an absolute blast and roller coaster of fun, and sometimes that's all you need. Even if you've never watched anime, or if your only exposure is Naruto or My Hero, I think you'll still absolutely love this show. Because if you like great action, lovable characters, exciting stories, and a generous dose of nostalgia, then Outlaw Star is for you. If you love this show or have a suggestion of a show you think is underrated, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. And as always, take care and have a great day, you beautiful beasts.